So we will call to order the February 17th meeting of the Bolton Conservation Commission here in the Houghton Building, and start with a roll call. Brian Barabee.
Jim Stone.
Heinz Wenzio.
Lori Stevenson.
Maria Berman. Karen Overton.
Carol Gumpert.
Okay. And Karen, we're going to start by discussing commission business, asking membership positions available, and we got to schedule it for the meeting still. So we lost Janet, which is sad. It gives us a new opening for a member. Poor Karen's signing.
Not there, sorry.
Yeah. No, that's perfectly fine. We're one active member short. Not sure if you have interest in joining.
Yes, I do.
In which case, you can probably work with Karen to get a letter to the selectmen.
Right, so that's all you have to do is submit a letter to the selectmen. They meet actually next Thursday, so it'd be great if we could move it right along and get something on their agenda so that they could, if they wanted to have you come in. I don't know whether you're around. If you're not around, I know their next meeting's then
I can
March
just
12th.
come in. I'll work it out so I come in.
Okay, so, yeah, and then we can, yeah, full board again.
Officially have it.
And I can advertise again, really for more associates. I don't think I've put anything in recently for associates. We've started to get a little bit of, filtering in from people who are signing in the census. I emailed one person, didn't get any response after they checked it off, and then another person is somebody who's been helping out on the trail committee, so I'm gonna check in with them, because I'm not sure if they checked off because they already helping conservation, or whether they really were interested in the meetings. I hadn't ever been given the impression that they wanted to come to the meetings, so. But if there's no other people that come in through the census, then, it'd be good to advertise it again, as maybe people are sick of being in their house, wanna come out, whatever. Try to get people excited for spring and do something new.
Instead of shoveling.
Yeah.
They have plenty of time to read the Action Unlimited, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
we also have an opening for the position of chairman.
Right. Well, so Brian was actually acting as vice chair. If you remember, we had sort of assigned it that way because initially when Janet was recusing herself from Century Mill, we wanted to have something in line. So we had sort of set that up. So I don't know, and I think we went around at that time. Maria, who had seniority, Lori wasn't here, said she wasn't interested at that point. I don't know if anybody else is interested. Brian?
I'm more than happy to not. For either or, I'm also happy to do it. But yeah, I don't know. Lori, I don't know if you want.
My workload, it's already pushed a little bit,
So.
Does that mean you're in?
I think so, but do I have to make a motion?
Or somebody can make a motion. And then I guess the thing is that it'd be good to have a vice chair though, so somebody that we know who can either take the place if Brian's sick or traveling or, unable to be at the meeting, has to recuse himself. So, and is interested maybe in, working towards being the chair at another time, at another point. I don't know if anybody wants to.
I just step away too long,
Yeah.
it doesn't work.
Yeah, you can only do it for half a year.
As incoming president of our Rotary Club, I have more than enough to do.
Yeah, I'm sure you're. Now, is that a yearly thing?
It starts officially in July, but I've been phasing into it.
Oh, yeah, I
since the
already thought you
beginning of the
were.
year.
Okay. Yeah, you've been doing a lot.
It's something we can think about too, because we should talk to Liz too, that
Yeah.
if we are scheduling our informal meetings, maybe everybody just take a week and think about, if you wanna do it, if you can do it, because that's part of it, is the time thing, which I'm nervous about. And then in our informal, we can just go around and figure out who would be best, because we can talk to Liz too, and that'll give everybody a chance to just think about it at least.
I mean, technically, technically the chair shouldn't have to do anything more than anybody else, other than I've been using that person as a, first person to kind of check the agenda with, you know, so, and then it kind of developed with Janet more so than, well, I guess Kevin used to do it a little bit too, and Bob a little bit less maybe, but, he'd check in too, but, you know, Janet wanted to come in and we went over some of the projects. I mean, if we have a big project, I think it was helpful to do that kind of thing, but when it's a regular agenda, you know, like tonight's fairly straightforward, you know, even just a phone call or, you know, a quick half hour,
Some time,
15
yeah.
minutes, you know, whatever, something, it shouldn't take a lot of extra time,
They have gone a long time at different points without a chair,
yeah.
you know. And
I mean, you can do it round robin, there's no reason you have to have one particular person.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's helpful to me at least to say, all right, you know, if I have a question, rather than having to necessarily hit everybody up with it, you know, should I put it on the agenda, shouldn't I put it on the agenda, you know, is it something, you know, and most of the stuff I do put out to everybody in the long run, but sometimes it's just easier to have one person to bounce the idea off of, you know. So, anyway. And just if you remember, I mean, and the chair, what we were trying to get away from is the chair shouldn't be making all the motions, you know, like, so if somebody else makes the motions, the chair's sort of supposed to just be the one who does the procedural, you know, like, okay, I heard a motion, we had discussion, now we're having, I need a second, you know, so it's more that than having to be the one to make the motion, so that helps to get everybody involved, you know, and make sure that they,
And you don't have to do all the talking.
right, right.
Well, in this particular case, you can't make this motion anyway, which is, I move that we accept Brian as our new chairman.
I'll second it.
All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Who says that? The person who made the motion or you?
Well, procedurally, Brian would
Procedurally,
say
I
it,
should,
but
yeah,
since
yeah.
that was.
It just felt really weird, yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, but then we can, cause that was the other thing we had to have to talk about tonight. One of the things was our informal meetings, if we're gonna reschedule those, or we are gonna, we have some of those rescheduled. Who we're meeting with at those, and then we can talk, cause if Liz comes too, we can talk about, just who can share in case of sickness, emergency, or.
I threw out March 10th because that was the first off Tuesday night, and it looks like advisory wants to meet that night with us, and whoever that's gonna be, whether it's myself and one other person, or Liz. I know Liz was interested the last time for the open space and recreation plan. She was gonna, and she and I are gonna meet with the, our liaison next Monday. But I did send out to Dawn and Pam, the question as to whether they wanted to reschedule the open meeting law, session with us. And so if we were able to get together a group that night, like at 7:30-ish, that they don't wanna come, I don't wanna ask them, and they don't wanna come up too late, because that they're not in town hall anyway at that point.
I'm gonna be out of the country that week, so I can't.
Okay, you're gonna be out for the March 1st meeting? I knew you had 2
Nope,
weeks.
the second week in March.
Just the
I'll be
second
out,
week?
Just the second
Okay.
week.
Okay. How does it sound for
I'll be out too.
you? Are
I have a wedding in California.
Teresa has suggested that we not mention on live TV that we're not going to be home.
Someone will be home at my house.
My wife will be home.
I just thought I would bring that up.
Yeah,
I've
right.
got a
Thank you,
dog.
Teresa.
The dog.
Bites.
You have, how many more dogs?
4 dogs, and my husband will be home. So it's pretty good.
Well, so that doesn't sound like a good one necessarily. Then we're pushed off, I think, to the 23rd, is that what that is?
24th,
24th?
next Tuesday. We can do, we'll have 2 meetings in between. Next week, 3rd and 17th. So you can do, I mean,
So why don't we, I'll see whether they're available for the 24th.
24th. So I can do the 24th.
Yeah, I can probably do the 24th.
And I also had a conversation today with Judy Schmitz, who's the DEP circuit rider for our region. I don't know, you probably remember, like a couple months ago in the fall, I told you that she was hired. Worcester didn't have a circuit rider for years. I mean, most of the time I've been here, I don't think we had a circuit rider. And so she's was sort of new to the position, and I was talking with her, and, you know, she said, well, while I'm new, it's a good opportunity, I can get out to talk to different commissions, and, you know, any questions people have, and, you know, I told her that we had a lot of new people, and so that would be good. Anyway, she called also today, because she had seen the Globe article on the Vickery project, and I had called her to ask about the agricultural exemption and that kind of thing initially, so it kind of rang a bell with her. So I was just talking, and she said, you know, again, I'm open to coming out to meet with the commission if there's ever, you know, either some specific topic they want to talk about, or if they just want to know, like, how does DEP work, you know, you guys have your bylaw, but, you know, if somebody is appealing a decision, you know, how does that work, or whatever the questions might be. You get the application, what do you do with it, you know?
Can she be of any help with the pipeline?
Well, I did mention the pipeline to her, and we didn't get into it specifically. I could ask her that, whether she thinks that she could be helpful to us in talking about that. I think, I'd be more inclined to kind of do that closer to the time that we think they're actually gonna file something with us, I mean, as far as the wetland aspect of it goes, you know, I don't think she'd be able to help on any other part, and, since we don't know when that'll be, I mean, it could be, you know, a year from now, in which case, you know, it'd be good to have it fresh. But she might be able to do that kind of thing, and I did mention it.
Yeah, we could ask her.
I mentioned to Karen today, because she and I were emailing, Karen was interested in going to MACC as well. And I had said one fundamental course that they are offering, and I'm sure Judy could teach, you know, talk to us pretty well about it, whether you wanted to go to it or not, but is wetland functions and values. And, you know, so in talking to her, I said, you know, I mean, obviously, if you know more about the science or know more about what you're trying to protect in terms of those functions and values, then instead of just throwing regs around, you know, it's easier to say, these are the reasons that we're protecting this. You know, this intermittent stream has these values and functions according to the Wetlands Protection Act, you know, and these are the things that, you know, why these regulations say that you need to do this, you know. So I thought that could be a good session, but I also didn't want to, if I had just told Karen, no, she might think about wanting to go to that, I didn't want to bore her again if we did it a second time. But there might be more, you know, it certainly would be a different person too.
It's a big topic,
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot.
Did you think you might do that one, or are you still not sure?
Yeah, no, that's exactly the kind of, stuff I wanted to learn, so.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay.
I feel like some of the more procedural stuff, you know, I can just read about, but there would probably be good to.
Yeah, and the procedural stuff, I mean, that would be something too we can do as an informal sometime, you know, like, all right, so we sign this, what do you do next, you know?
Right.
How many days do you have to get it out, you know, or that kind of stuff. We can certainly talk a little bit about that. I'm sure I could do a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think it'll be, the workshops, obviously, the annual meeting kind of things, you get enough people in there so that when there is discussion too, you know, you're gonna have questions and answers that lead you to, like, oh, I never thought about that, or, oh, I had that same question, or we had that same question, you know?
Mhm.
That's always the interesting thing, I think, at the workshops.
Well, in both the workshops and the conferences, and this isn't just true of this subject either. You get as much from talking to the other attendees.
Right.
Say, gee, in our town, we had this, or we had some, get
Right.
into those discussions.
Yeah, and that's why I said for Karen, you know, is if you did the fundamentals, that gives you time for lunch, browsing the tables, and, you know, and schmoozing
Yeah,
with
talking
other
to
people, you know,
right.
and kind of getting a sense of, you know, what other issues people are having, and, well, we hold it'll come around your turn someday, you know, or you might have some advice that we already know with it. All right, well, I'll see if Pam and Dawn are available on the 24th. And so then it sounds like if we're not gonna really meet until then, if anybody has comments maybe at the next one of the upcoming meetings, then they should say whether they wanna be vice chair or anything else.
Yeah, we can, you know, if we do commission business at the beginning of the next meeting too, we can go over it again,
Okay.
do a reminder. We'll see. Do we have any good bills, mail, or correspondence?
I do have some bills. So, actually, I guess I'll leave it a little open, so that I can add in, Jim, are you gonna send me the reimbursement, like Liz sent me her, sign up, her receipt, sorry,
Oh,
that's the
okay.
word I'm looking for.
Yeah, I have
Okay.
similar.
And then Karen, you should just put it in as a member, and I'll just email them that, you know, you're changing your membership within the
Okay.
same time frame that this is kind of happening.
Okay.
And we'll just put it in. But there was also a government, I saw another category, which I hadn't seen the first time, that was 125. That was like, other government, so like,
Oh,
I think they
see
would
that.
fall into that anyway, whether it was, just not non-member, you know. But I'll call them and see if I can get them to do it. So right now, the only bill I have is for,
Liz
Liz
reimbursement.
attending the
Yeah.
annual meeting, but I will add the other ones in. And then, related to bills though, every winter we get a letter from Beaver Solutions. And their letter says, you know, what they did for routine maintenance of the flow devices that we have. And in the past, in 2014, we had both Bower Springs and Fifeshire. And so he just says, you know, kinds of comments that the flow devices at Bower Springs are in good condition with routine maintenance. Extra fencing was added to the lower pond culvert, which eliminated culvert blocking. Minor vandalism was also repaired, and please let me know if Fifeshire needs any fixing, because he knew that that one was being demolished. So, anyway, the way he sends this out is, he's looking to find out whether we are really looking to do our, the 2015 maintenance plan, which would be, for 2 sites would be, well, one site's $270, but, let's see, he's giving a 20% discount for 2 sites in town, so. I'm not sure whether or not we need to have Fifeshire, because we were down there and we had that whole question as to whether there was activity there.
Yeah.
So I'd kind of like to let them know that we, at this point, we still might need assistance at Fifeshire, but obviously he doesn't have any flow device, so it'd be something new. But I don't know, so what has happened in the past, when I first started here, so back in 2000, we didn't have this contract, and it's not really so much of a contract, but, well, I guess it is, he just wants to know whether he should be continuing the maintenance, and he contacts me, you know, to go out there twice a year. And anyway, we had freezing and thawing and heaving, and the pipes did not stay in place, and then they got blocked again, and it was just done by DPW, and they just don't have the same expertise to go out and do the maintenance to the pipes. So we have been using them since then. So I just want, I guess, you know, for those of you who are new to it, my recommendation is to continue with his maintenance plan and program. He's very accommodating. You know, if we have something, he'll come out pretty quickly as soon as they can, and, you know, as soon as the water's warm enough and low enough for him to get in with chest waders, you know, he usually gets in to check everything after the winter, so.
Well, it sounds like we could probably use it at Fifeshire, given there might have been some beaver activity.
Yeah, I mean, we may even just wanna have him look at what's going on
So you
at
might
that,
do an
at the
assessment,
spillway,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and tell us whether or not, if there's something that he has for a device that would work in that area, if it
Right.
comes to that point, you know, or are we gonna have to do,
Discourage or-
what else, what are the other options, you
Yeah.
know? So, okay, so what I have been doing with him is just saying, you know, we'd like you to continue, and please invoice us when you actually do the work, you know? So the town doesn't wanna pay the bill until then, but he wants to just know whether he should be doing it.
Right.
Okay. So I think that's all on bills. I think I had a couple of announcements. One thing it's kind of an announcement, I didn't get it on the agenda as any other way. Houghton Farm subdivision, so at the corner of Sugar Road and Golden Run Road, just past that is Houghton Farm. And I'm not, again, for people who are newer, I'm not sure, but we have an order of conditions that was filed for the subdivision road, and it had a crossing of a wetland, and they did wetland replication. And based on the order of conditions, every year, you know, they're supposed to evaluate it. And so the site was visited last September, and then in January, I got a report on it, so, and then I didn't get it to us at our last meeting or get it on the agenda, so I just thought I'd let you know that Ducharme Dillis conducted a site visit September 2014 to evaluate the wetland replication areas after approximately 2.5 growing seasons, so they've really already met their 2 years. And the primary objective was to assess the plant vitality and vegetative cover, determine if any invasive or non-native plants have taken hold, and evaluate regulatory compliance that states that at least 75% of the surface of the replacement area shall be reestablished with indigenous wetland plant species within 2 growing seasons. So during the site visit, it was noted that the entirety of the replication areas is vegetated with herbaceous cover and shrubs. Rhododendron dogwood and hydrous blueberry shrubs had all survived from the last inspection and showed continued signs of growth. A number of native herbaceous plants were identified, including woolgrass, hopsedge, swamp aster, ditch stonecrop. That was it. And the vegetated area was comprised of greater than 75% of indigenous wetland plants. There was no sign of invasive or non-native plants within the replicated area. Therefore, there was no sign of, and furthermore, there was no sign of erosion or accumulation of sediment within the replication area. So he was saying, in summary, you know, it's completely vegetated, healthy within indigenous wetland plants, and they feel it's been successfully replicated. So even though I got that in January, I think, I'm trying to remember when I was out there last. I was either out there in January or December, but I was out there late in the season with the developer. And part of it was because they want to build on another lot, or they'd come in looking for a building permit application for another lot. And in the course of discussion, what we realized was that they were supposed to have recorded a conservation restriction on the 5 acres of open space in the front, which is going to be a homeowners association land, but it's going to have a CR on it, before they got occupancy. And so they've got 2 houses over there, and one of the houses is being rented and has been given occupancy. And so I don't have any record or information of the CR being recorded, but their attorney told me that they had recorded a, what do you call it? It wasn't approved by the state yet, but it was, so it's just like, it's a kind of like a temporary CR, which would be valid for 30 years, and then it has to be re-recorded. In the interim, they're working to get the state's approval, or they should be working towards that. So I thought that all got back on track, but I haven't seen anything now in a couple of weeks, again, a few weeks, really, since that last discussion. Anyway, when I was also out there, we looked at the replication area, and one of the things I told them is that I thought that it looked suitable to take out the erosion control. They still had the silt fence and hay bales out there. And I said, but I just want you to check with Brandon, you know, to see that he's satisfied, like that, you know, he's had a look at it and everything looks okay, in case he thought that there would need to be other work or anything like that. So anyway, I think they may have taken out the erosion controls. It looked good to me at that point in time, even before I got his letter.
Is that development right at the sharp corner of Sugar Road and then Golden Run?
Yeah.
One goes up
Yeah.
the hill,
Yeah.
and the houses are kind of set back.
Well, there's 2 houses, as you look in on the subdivision, there's 2 houses on the left that were constructed, and then there's gonna be some other ones set back.
Okay.
And then there's a cul-de-sac with probably a couple more. So I forget how many houses total, maybe 7? Yeah, something like that.
And then the CR is right in the front there? Because I thought it was
There's
wide
a-
open.
It is wide open, and most of that will stay wide open, but it's, they wanted it to be given to a homeowners association in case they wanted to mow the fields or have a community garden in the area, or something that was sort of agricultural open space related.
Yeah.
So the town said fine. Now again, it was a phosphorus subdivision, so it means it was an open space cluster type of subdivision, and they already have given to the town 30 acres of open space. So in its conservation land, they gave it to the Conservation Commission. So we had an Eagle Scout, Ben Sikansky, a couple of years ago. Let's see, he was a senior, he's in college now. So a year and a half ago or so, he put in a trail in there and a boardwalk, a couple of bridges, or maybe one boardwalk for a couple of bridges, something like that. So there's a nice loop trail in there. And then there's a lot of other trails that really connect out that we still really would love to get formalized in some way. And I started on that actually a couple of years ago, but a lot of it was National Grid land or power company land. And I didn't really get that far with it. They wanted more information than I really had to give them to get into it. But the trail committee, maybe we'll get back on track with that at some point.
So the conservation restriction on Houghton Farm, is it normal that they have to go to the state and it takes this long?
It's normal that they have to go to the state. I don't know that they have gone to the state with it. I don't think it's being held up at the state. I think
Oh,
they
I
haven't
see.
either submitted the stuff.
Oh, wow.
Either that or they submitted it and then they needed to make some changes and they never did those changes. Without looking at the file now, I can't remember what the status of it was. But it was in the planning board's decision that they weren't supposed to get occupancy before the CR was recorded. And whether I knew that or whether I remembered it, you know, both the planner and I both signed off on the occupancy, not realizing it. And so we told them, well, we're not signing off on any new building permits
Yeah.
until you take care of this, you know, so.
He's usually pretty good about.
Oh, he met with me, everybody was nice, but it's not his first priority, so. Anyway, it got brought to the top of the top again, and then now it's getting buried again, so I don't know. Well, maybe this spring they'll come back with something. But as far as the replication, that all went really well, so that was the main thing. And they do have money that they can get back. They didn't ask for money to get back, and I haven't looked it up to see what it would be. But again, that would be the other thing that they should come back for, requesting their release of some funds. I think that might be another announcement.
I don't know if anybody else had a chance to look through the minutes for February 3rd. They looked fine to me.
Yep.
So
Yep.
could to make a motion that we accept the February 3rd, 2015 minutes as they were drafted.
Second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So carries. And it's past 7:15, so I can open Broomfield, right?
Yes.
And close it.
Well, continue.
Yeah. Okay, so we are opening the continuing public meeting for Broomfield 164 Still River Road, with their ongoing request for determination.
No, notice of intent.
Notice of intent, sorry.
Oh, it says RFD, doesn't it? I'm
It
sorry.
did. No, that's all right, but
Okay,
notice
I'm
of
sorry.
intent, yeah.
Yep.
They have contacted Carol and they asked to continue again. So, if possible, we are going to move them to our March 17th meeting at 8 o'clock. We push them back to 8 because they might be bigger. If we have a 15-minute stop in between, because they had asked to be pushed back to March 17th, but they sometimes take a little longer to talk through. It might be quick this time because they're kind of coming back with answers to questions.
But I think we'll need to recap where we
we're
were and what the
definitely
project
gonna
was
need to recap.
and so forth.
The initial round of going back and forth. And that's all we have on wetland administration this evening. Mr. Landman, there's probably not much of an update on Five Shire. I doubt you've been out there, I know.
No, I didn't ask direct either one of those, and I don't have anything to add tonight.
Probably can't find it.
No.
Well, I can just say, I did get out on my snowshoes this afternoon at home and was able to actually only go like this far most of the way around the orchard behind me, so that's,
What, snowshoeing?
yeah. I mean, 2 weeks ago, before I went on vacation, I couldn't go anywhere.
I couldn't. I actually lost my snowshoe in the snow. It came literally ripped off my foot
Yeah.
after the first storm we got.
Yeah,
It's all
I
down there,
couldn't
just-
go
Found it.
anywhere.
I did,
Yeah.
before the second storm.
But
Yeah,
now
my
it's all
heart was
packed.
like-
Now it's all packed.
Now
You
those
have to
big
get a-
old-fashioned ones that are like this big.
We have those, and those actually do work good, yeah.
Yeah, the really big long ones, yeah.
Both sizes, yeah.
So, I don't know, I have not tried it out here at Five Shire or anywhere else, but I might be able to get out there now.
Fine.
Did you go on vacation to someplace where you could practice?
No, I was more.
So, yeah. Practice at home. There's not really a Tennessee Gas pipeline update. I have been getting some of those emails. I'm trying to think if there's anything new since the last time we.
Well, I got a couple of things, actually. So there were, so I know that the Stop the Pipeline group last night met with Berlin. Did I
That's right.
forward that to you?
You did, yeah, that they were meeting.
And then, they, let me see, I thought I had it, I could send it off to them today. Well, I guess, what we talked about the last time has been confirmed, that it's more like a trade show where they have tables and they have maps, and supposedly they have young enthusiastic people who are there for Kinder Morgan, trying to get everyone excited about their project. And then there is a table with FERC, and then there's also the higher-ups, I guess, from Kinder Morgan who can also be there. And, one of the emails said, that it seemed as though the people who were manning the tables, occasionally anyway, I don't know that they always said it, but, I don't have enough information to give you that, respond to that. And then they would say, but you could go and talk to so-and-so, and then so-and-so would say, oh, yeah, I don't have enough information to respond to that. At least that was the feedback that was being given, and maybe that was somebody's experience with it. I guess there's definitely somebody who's, I think he's from Lancaster, who's been kind of going to a lot of them, and trying to sort of see what's happening at them, and that was kind of the tone. But they did this, so the Stop the Pipeline group, in their email said, you can do the same things. You can tell them you don't want to have your land surveyed. You can tell them that if you already agreed, that you want to put conditions on it, you can withdraw it, So they were still saying those are all things you can talk to them about while you're there. As well as, you can have more pointed questions about, this is conservation lands, Article 97 land, how is it possible that you can go through this process? What is the process going to be? You can talk to FERC about that, or you can talk about, other implications, of wetlands implications, so, I don't know, Karen, were you going to be able to go next week? Were you thinking you were going to do that? Because I know I was going to try to go, and I think Brian was going to try to go. So we might want to see if we can come up with, now that we know that we don't have to just sit in the audience and have one question or something answered, we might,
Go back
to
our
go back
full
to our,
list,
our list and see what we want to
Sure.
sort of decide how we want to use them.
We can email back and forth about that too offline,
Yeah.
too, just to
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
over, because we had that, we found that
Yeah.
list again.
Okay.
And you probably get the email today, I'm trying to think who it came from. Did it come from Gene?
Oh, yeah, from MACC.
Yeah, with the real purposes behind the pipeline.
Yeah.
Which,
I think I've sent that out to everyone.
yeah, I read
Yeah.
that. It really makes me wonder who's gonna show up to this event, because if the gas is being shipped out to Germany or wherever it is there gonna be any, are there any supporters that are supposed to be there?
Maybe
They-
get support-
union
yeah,
support.
unions.
People that'll benefit from the work that it,
Yeah.
okay, provides for.
And I forget whether it was that article or something else, but it sounded like, what did they say, like 44% of people had signed agreements to allow access? Is that what I saw? Was that in that one? There was a pretty large number of people who had
Yeah.
already, who had supposedly, according to the article that I saw, that they said it was okay. They've entered into it.
Read that again. 110 North Road. So so as far as releasing them from chapter 61A, it sounded like we don't have interest in the ability right now to ask the town to use it. To use it. It basically has a right of first refusal,
Right.
That it would be difficult for us to recommend that to them at this time. because it really wasn't listed as our priority land before. It's a beautiful piece of land, I think it's great. I don't know that it should jump onto our priority list. The last time there was the open space and recreation plan, it wasn't priority 1, 2, or 3, and doesn't connect in with anything else we have. But that said, I mean, we can always recommend that the town does try to purchase it, but.
Was the trust gonna talk to them?
Yeah, so we had suggested that maybe somebody from the trust could talk with them to at least lay out some options. And Betsy Taylor Kennedy did that and sent me just some notes. She just did that last week, I believe, or February 4th. And she said, you know, they talked about different options, a CR, outright gift or sale to the town or trust, sale as house lots. Selling for house lots would net the most money and eliminate property taxes. They could also choose to sell just 1 or 2 of the lots, there's 3 of them there. CR would let them own the land and the taxes would be reduced when the restricted land is reassessed. Sale to the town or the trust is unlikely because of lack of funds from both entities. Also, the parcel is not contiguous to other conservation land. An outright gift would eliminate property taxes and provide tax deduction. Those retirees is not as an important benefit. So I think basically she went through those sorts of options and, you know, and I think that was kind of what we were just expecting that she would do. So, I mean, and the other thing she sort of said, you know, there's not an offer to match, so it's sort of it's a funny way we're doing this release because you don't have anything to match. So if you did want to purchase it, you know, you don't have an offer, you know. So, yeah, so I guess, you know, as we had told them the night that they were here, that, you know, we wouldn't hold up the process of letting the selectmen know, you know, that about the right of first refusal, we just had wanted to have time for somebody to talk to them. And I haven't heard anything back from them.
So, I mean, we don't know if they're getting these, I mean, what is this land appraised at, you know, if they could sell it? Do we even know what the value?
No, we don't have any appraisals. They may, I mean, I think according to Betsy's notes, there may be 2 lots that have wells on them already. And I know they've been soil tested, you know, so they're probably appraising at whatever the building lots are going for now. Which I'm not, and they're pretty nice building lots, I would assume, except for maybe the one with the wetland. I don't know how much issue that one would have.
So isn't part of I think they were taking it out of chapter 61 so they could pay the taxes, right? To
They
basically
wanted-
be up to date on.
Yeah, they didn't
moving it
wanna
out of
have like
61A.
to pay the lump sum later. They didn't want that to come at a point when they couldn't pay it. So they
Right.
wanted to pay it when they had the money now to do it.
Probably means they had an appraisal. I would think, however one as it comes out, but I could be
Well,
wrong.
I'm not sure that that's required. I think the assessors have, it's based on the assessed values, so it's not an appraised value.
Yeah, you're right.
So-
So, do we need to do anything procedurally, or is it just we're gonna
Yeah.
let the,
You
okay?
need to, I think you should have someone make a motion to,
Okay.
to pass over the, right of first refusal, or something to that effect.
I'd like to make a motion that.
No. Somebody.
Go ahead.
I'd like to make a
There
motion
you go.
to pass over the right of first refusal for what number was it, North Road?
110 North Road.
110 North Road.
Second. All those in favor? Aye. So carries. And I don't know if you've heard anything back from Don, but as far as the policy gift, I think our next step was letting Don know that we were interested.
Yes, I did, I'm working on getting on the selectmen's agenda to talk with them about it. So I sent an email today to Linda Day, and she will let me know tomorrow whether I can be on their agenda next week, or whether I have to wait until the 12th, depended on a couple of other bigger things that would push me until later in the evening, and they didn't want me to have to come in at 9 or whatever. So, and it's been for that period of time, but I do need to call, I do wanna let the Paulsons know that, you know, that where we are with it, that we're gonna
Yeah.
talk to the selectmen.
Does anybody from the public want to make a comment? Let's see, anything else on the agenda? Oh, I'd like to make a motion that the Bolton Conservation Commission publicly recognizes Janet Pesatoro for all of her years of service to the commission and the town of Bolton. her time as chair, all the research she did, the resource that she was, and noting that hopefully she'll continue to work with the Trails Committee, and we'll continue to work with her in the future.
Is that a motion?
And that is a motion I make.
I would like to second that.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
That's all I have. Do you have anything else?
I don't have anything else.
All right.
I'm just looking.
BATV, thank you very much. This concludes the February 17th, 2015 meeting of the Bolton Conservation Commission.